Oh, good morning. It's your old friend, Geri Atrik. Today I'm going to tell you about uh, my grandfather, Dr. J. Howard Staub. He was the third son and youngest of Nicholas Staub, and was the acorn that didn't fall far from the tree. He accomplished many things just like his father did during his lifetime. He arrived in Stamford, Connecticut, not knowing anyone to speak of, to start his medical practice. And it was like early 1900s. And started making his house calls in horse and buggy. And in 1904, he got his first automobile. Um, in my lifetime, I remember his home and office were at 100 South Street, which was one of the main thoroughfares of Stamford, and was a mixture of some business but mostly residential homes. And he, I can remember his routine every day. His driver, Jimmy Strachan, a wonderful Scotsman, would be waiting at the side door like at 8:30 in the morning. My grandfather would get into the back seat, and they would make house calls. They would, go to Old Greenwich, Darien, New Canaan, Stamford, wherever his patients were. And he would come home for lunch, which my grandmother would have ready for him. And then he would have office hours, I believe it was from 1 to 2. And I can even remember his office. It was a waiting room with like 8 chairs, and then his office was off that. And the office, he had a roll top desk, and I don't remember, but I'm sure there must have been some files there, but when you go in a doctor's office today, I mean, half of the space is devoted to files. Well, he might have had one little cabinet there that he kept files in, but and the rest was like a glass case with glass shelves, and there were like instruments in there for I don't know, lancing or whatever. And he had a ledger book that he wrote all his stuff in, and actually he did his own billing. There was no nurse; it was just him. And well, and then he had office hours again at 7 to 8 at night. But in the afternoons, he was chief of surgery at Stanford Hospital, and he would do scheduled operations, and then it was available for emergency operations too. Then he, many patients were in the hospitals those days, a lot different than today. But so he would visit the hospital at least twice a day to see his patients. And the amazing thing about him, as busy as he was a great sportsman. He was a single-digit handicap golfer. He was a crack shot in both traps and skeet. I have a trophy of his from the Riverside Yacht Club. It's a 50 out of 50, which, if you've ever done it, it's not very easy. And a little side note that is that he also delivered babies until I think my brother was the last one he delivered. And my brother was born in 1933. But up until then, they did everything. He operated, delivered babies, took care of colds or whatever. And he also he was a crack bridge player. He could play hands that he can remember, from a year ago, how he did a 7-0 trump or something. But, and during World War One or World War Two, I'm sorry, he was the medical examiner for the draft board in Stanford. So he did that at nights. He also was a director of the Fidelity Bank and Trust Company in Stanford, and eventually became chairman of the board. He retired from medical practice. I think he was 75, but in that area. And he still took care of the family, though. And when our kids were sick, we would always call him. And they even talk about today how reassuring his presence was when, he'd walk up the stairs and go to their bedroom and have his little black bag with him. And I think it was more, just saying, you're going to be okay. But anyway. But yesterday I was thinking about him and how lucky my brother and I were to have him as a grandfather and father too. I mean, he was in our life so much. So that's my story for today.